The entire contents of my life have fit into various kinds of suitcases for the better part of 17 years. For 2 of those years, it was a carry-on suitcase only. What does this mean? It means I'm real good at packing. So today I'm going to show you 5 ways and a whole bunch of different tools to help you figure out what you need to make the most of the space that your suitcase has, whether it's checked or carry-on size, so you can make the most out of your next trip. Now, make sure you watch to the end because I have a bonus tip that is going to guarantee that all the liquids you have will stay in their bottles and not get all over your bag. Now, I happen to be packing for a 5-month trip right now. I'm going through various climates and scenarios. I'm not actually really entirely sure where I'm going. So I thought I would use today as an exercise to talk about travel packing. I have everything that I'm taking with me laid out here, and we are going to talk about various elements of the packing process. I'm going to show you some of the tools that I use, and then I'm going to show you how it all goes into a suitcase. So, on with the show. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of actually packing your suitcase, it's good to take a macro approach to your trip. So, overpackers have a classic line. It goes something like this. Oh, but I might need blank. Blank could be extra shirts or fancy pants or a dress or shoes or knickknacks or toiletries, appliances, I don't know, whatever. Problem is, suitcases don't have a lot of room for mights. So if you might need it, you probably don't. And just so you know, you're not going to the moon. Chances are you can get what you might need at your destination. And if you can't, well, it's time to get creative. Travel is a growth experience. Is that too harsh? Am I being too harsh? Let's eliminate the possibility for some of these mights by getting realistic about your trip. Tip number 1 for packing your suitcase is to define your trip. Even after all of these years that I do this, I'm currently packing for this 5-month trip. I don't even really fully know where I'm going, but I have a good idea of the climates that I'll be in and the events that I'll be attending. And those 2 factors will dictate what I bring. So assuming you're not crazy like I am and you actually have a much more specific trip that you're taking, you can get even more granular with this. And write it down. It's sometimes good to see what you're packing for in black and white, and it's also a great way to have a checklist for every time you have to pack your bag up. So write down, what will the weather be like at your destination? What sort of activities will you be doing during the day? What kind of places will you go at night? Are there specific events that you're attending that will require a certain attire? For each of the activities and places and events that you're planning to attend, write down what you need to wear for that specific thing. Shoes, shirts, accessories, bags, the whole thing, and get as detailed as you can, because this will become the foundation for your packing list. Now, what you're ideally looking for here is overlap. The scarf that you use to keep your shoulders warm at dinner can also be a sarong by the pool. The laptop bag you use at that conference could be your day pack for an excursion and your personal item on the plane. The shoes you wear for the nice events are also comfortable and versatile enough to be worn to walk around all day while you're seeing the sights. And looking fantastic, I might add. These shoes, by the way, right here, are exactly for that purpose. They're 100% good for all the things, and they're made from plastic bottles. I actually did another video about these shoes, and I have a link to them in the description. So you'll definitely want to check that out because these are some of the best travel shoes I've ever had. But you get the idea. The more boxes each item can tick and the more multifunctional it is, the better it is for travel. Also, how long are you going for? And if it's more than a week or 2, will there be laundry facilities available, or can you hand wash some items? Which of course you can, you always can. This will obviously cut down on how much stuff you need to bring. One of the things I discovered early on is if you have enough stuff for about 10 days, then you pretty much have enough stuff to go indefinitely. Tip number 2, let's talk toiletries. Next up, after you've determined what you need to wear for various activities, it's time to write down your toiletries and accessories. So for toiletries, just run through your day in your head and write down everything you use. Or even more practically, a couple of days before you start packing, actually write down everything you use as you're using them throughout the day. So you wake up, you brush your teeth, toothbrush, toothpaste, floss, check. You hop in the shower, face wash, shampoo, conditioner, soap, razor, etc. Check. Now your specific choice of toiletries and how packable they are another matter. If you're going with carry-on only, you are definitely going to want to look into using spiffy, solid, and long-lasting toiletries like shampoo and conditioner bars and toothpaste tabs, etc. I'm a huge fan of Lush Cosmetics for all of this stuff, and I've used it for years. And you'll want to ensure that you have small containers for the liquids that you have to take. Now, stay tuned, because a little bit later in this video, I'm going to share my top tip for packing liquids, so there is no chance of a liquid explosion in your suitcase. Tip number 3, let's get technical. What technology are you bringing with you on this trip? Write down every thingamabob you're bringing. That's a technical term, by the way. Thingamabob? Yeah, I like it, right? Phone, laptop, e-reader, smartwatch, whatever it is. If you're working remotely while you're traveling, maybe you also need a webcam or a microphone or a light like this one. This is actually the equivalent of a ring light, except it's ultra portable. I have a video on this in the description. Now here's the rub. Also, write down the adapter cord for each of these thingamabobs. Hopefully, in some cases, you can use the same charging cord for multiple devices, but you want to make sure you've got at least one cord for everything. By the way, you also totally need to travel with one of these. I literally never leave home without it. Check the description for a link to a video where I talk more about this specifically. So by now you've got the basis of what you need: clothes, accessories, toiletries, and tech. Now you gotta figure out how to organize it and how to fit it gracefully into your suitcase. Tip number 4, organize, but not too much. Packing tools tend to fall into one of two camps: organizational and space saving. Very occasionally you can find something that is both organizational and space saving. And when you find those things, use them. They are like gold. Here are a few of those things that I've found. The first one is right here. This very unassuming thing is called the Hobo Roll. Actually, it used to be called the Hobo Roll, which is why I like it so much, because of course I'm also known as the Professional Hobo. But now they call it the Seg Sack Traveler. Again, I'll have a link in the description to this. But why I like this so much is it's like a compression sack. It's made from very ultralight, thin material, very sturdy as well, and water resistant. But on the inside, you can see there are all these compartments. This is great for organizing small stuff. So in this bag, I put bathing suit, workout clothes, hats, scarves, bras, underwear, socks, belt, and so much more. And it has the ability to not only organize everything, but then you can pack it down, and it's got straps that will cinch it and compress it as much as possible. So it helps to save space with the compressing, and it's organizational with these things. Quite frankly, I never unpack this. I just open it up, I uncompress it and open it up, and this remains my organizational tool for all my socks and underwear and little bits and bobs throughout my trip. Next up are packing cubes. Now these kind of tread both lines as well. Regular packing cubes are not so much space savers, but they're great for organization. The trick is to get packing cubes that are compressible, and then they will help you save space as well. So these are some packing cubes that I like. They're made by Knack Bags, which also makes an expandable backpack that I like to use for some carry-on trips. And as you can see here, it's nice and sturdy. Material is sturdy, which is good because, as you can see, it has this extra zipper here. So what you do is you fill it full of clothes, and then you zip it around, and it actually becomes much smaller. So it will compress your clothes and organize them. So packing cubes are fantastic. When I get to packing the suitcase a little bit later, you're going to see how packing cubes can sometimes create extra space that is problematic, and how to solve that problem as well. Next up, fabulous for organization, okay for saving space, not great for weight, but I will give it that transgression because it is an amazing tool, and it's called the Rollo. And what it is basically is it's a hanging wardrobe. You can see it's got a little hanger thing on top here, and it's got various pockets. A big one there, another big one there, and then two smaller ones at the bottom. And the trick is you can fill it full of clothes, and then, according to its name, you roll it up, and then it has compression straps that you can use to cinch it down a little bit. So the beauty of something like this is if you're moving around a lot from place to place, hotel to hotel, destination to destination, it's really easy to pack and unpack this, because really all you have to do is roll it up and unroll it and hang it, and you're good to go. Next up is a toiletry bag. I love toiletry bags for organizing my toiletries, but then also for making them usable at my destination. And this is the toiletry bag I use. Done another video about this and why I like it so much. It's got a little hanger underneath. So again, all I have to do really is arrive at my destination and hang it up. And even if there's no counter space for my toiletries, I've got everything organized in here already. So it's also ultra light and it's very thin. So it's a great way of organizing toiletries and also making them immensely usable at your destination. Now, I will note if you are flying, then with carry-on only, then you're going to need to keep your liquids in a separate bag. So instead of keeping my liquids in the toiletry bag on flight days, what I will do is I will keep my toiletries in a separate Ziploc bag, and I will keep that in like the front pocket of my carry-on suitcase. So it's really easily accessible at security. All I have to do is pull it out, put it in the tray, and I'm good to go, rather than having to dig this out and then dig the liquids out of this, which is way too time consuming. Next up is a tech pouch. There's got to be a way for you to organize all your tech. You're gonna have cords and adapters and little electronic things. You know, I like microphones, and I have a laptop stand, and I've got a little portable keyboard, and I've got adapters and cords and all the things. So it's good to have a way to organize it. Now, quite frankly, until now, I'm super primitive, and I just kept it in a really just kind of like a waterproof bag, which is okay, but it's a pain in the neck finding stuff in it, and the cords would get all mixed up. It was not the best solution in the world. So I now have this. The tag is still on it. I haven't even used it yet, but I really liked it when I saw it online. It's a tech pouch by a company called Side by Side. And there are lots of products like this out there, and in the description I have a link to an article that features a few different things. But what I like about this is it's got various elastics for you to organize, various things, small and large, some zipper compartments to keep other stuff, and it's got some more room in there, and then there's a little pouch in there, and there's even another zippered compartment here to slide in like a laptop adapter, some larger cords. So it's small, but this looks like it packs a punch, and I'm really excited to take this on my upcoming trip. Speaking of cords getting all mixed up and tied up, there's a great tool thing that I have. Again, such a small, simple idea, but it works so well. And it's these little cord ties right here. And they're great. You can attach it with Velcro to one side of your cord. And then when you want to wrap it up for travel, then you can just do it like this, and now it's just really easy. It's all wrapped up in one. So I have these for all of my cords, and they're all really nicely organized. And these will fit into the tech bag, I think, really nicely with these little tags. So super simple tool, but really helpful for organizing your stuff. Last up in my roundup of favorite packing tools, it's so simple, it's deceptive. It's the almighty Ziploc bag. Plastic Ziploc bags are good for so many different things. They're good for organizing stuff, keeping stuff separate. They're good for supplements. Instead of bringing supplements, this is 5 months of supplements that I've got right here, and it's in a little Ziploc bag that takes up almost no space. This, in its original container, in its supplement container, would take up all kinds of room that it doesn't need to take up. So, Ziploc containers for supplements, super good travel hack. But then you can also use it for, heck, you know what? I always have a couple of additional Ziploc bags. Always, again, I've got them for my liquids, I've got them for supplements and various other items, but I also have a couple of extra Ziploc bags. For example, let's say for whatever reason, I'm at an accommodation, I'm doing my hand laundry because the only way to travel with carry-on luggage is to be prepared to wash some stuff by hand every once in a while, especially things like underwear and socks that you go through fairly quickly. But every once in a while, the sink at your accommodation just does not work. It doesn't have a plug, or the universal plug that I've brought doesn't work properly, and the water all drains out, and there's no way to actually hold an item. A simple Ziploc bag can become a washing machine. You put your stuff in there with a little bit of soap and water into the Ziploc bag, and you agitate it, shake it around, let it soak for a while, and you use very little water, and your stuff will come out very clean. So hail to the almighty Ziploc bag. Always make sure you have a few extras because you never know when you'll need them. All right, I've just done a whole bunch of packing of various components into their little things, and I'm ready to show you tip number 5, which is put it in the bag, which sounds simple, and it is, but it's not, but it is. One of the reasons why it's good to organize your stuff, but not too much, is because if everything has its own case, then unless all of those things fit perfectly together like Tetris in your bag, you're gonna have wasted space in your suitcase. So it's always good to have loose items that can fit into those nooks and crannies. So first up, if the inside of your suitcase has these indentations, which are from the rolling handle, mine has one rolling handle so it's here, but often you'll see two. The bottom of your case isn't flat, so it's important that you make the most of this bottom space, because if you just put something large across it, there's going to be a bunch of empty space underneath. So you can put a few things into a space like that before you fill the bag. If you have flat shoes like flip-flops, they work well. These are pretty flat and they're bendy. Also, if you have books, they work well, though I do recommend getting an e-reader, I'm just saying. Or even certain clothing items, like a jacket that you can lay flat in that area will fill it up. Once you've made the bottom of your case flat, then you can start putting stuff in the bag. So make sure the heavy stuff is at the bottom of the case to decrease the chances of it being tippy. And if you have a suitcase with just two wheels, keep the weight to the back as well so it doesn't tip forward. So it's important to put the big stuff in first and make sure you focus on the heavy on the bottom. Once you've got the big stuff in, it's time to fit the little stuff around it. So if your shoes don't totally flatten, then I say consider wearing them on travel days, or pack them and fill them with items. I've been known to stuff my shoes with all kinds of stuff. Travel adapters, water purifiers, packable day packs, all kinds of stuff. The golden tip here is to make sure that every single bit of space is used. Also, feel around in your pack. Is there extra room between some of the layers that you could stuff a scarf into? Do it. Ultimately, here comes the moment of truth. Can you close the bag? If not, it's time to revisit your list and see what extra stuff is maybe a bit too extra. Now remember, even if you're traveling with carry-on only, you have a personal item that you can put stuff into as well. My personal item is a backpack that's usually around 25 liters. This is what I'm taking on this trip. It houses my laptop, pretty much all of my tech items, which, given that I'm a digital nomad and a YouTuber, is kind of a lot. And anything I need for my travel day, including an extra layer for chilly airplanes or trains. And if I'm checking my luggage, I definitely want a spare outfit in here as well in case my luggage is lost. Better safe than sorry. Okay, my friends, it is bonus tip time. If you've enjoyed this video so far, please show me some love before I share my bonus tip for packing liquids. Likes and subscribes are always welcome. And sharing this video with a friend who is traveling soon will help them, and it'll make them like you more. So it's a win for everybody. All right, here we are, the final trick. I call it the plastic bag trick. And basically what it is it's gonna make sure that this doesn't leak at all. What you do, and this is another big reason why I like bringing Ziploc bags, is sometimes I wanna actually cut it up. Now you can use anything. You can use a plastic bag, a Ziploc bag, but you want a piece of plastic, and it's as simple as this. You unscrew whatever it is that you're taking with you. Shampoo bottles, this is for check luggage as well as carry-on. You put this over the opening and you screw it back on. That is not going to leak. I can pretty much guarantee it. Although if it does leak, please don't call me. Don't hold me liable. But I can guarantee you it is much less likely to leak than if you don't do it. So it's an easy hack and well worth it to keep your liquids safe and really to keep the rest of your bag safe. Thank you for watching this video. Coming up on the next screen are a couple of videos that I think you'll enjoy so you can keep binge watching my channel. I'm Nora Dunn. I'm also known as the Professional Hobo, and I will catch you next time.